Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin, its valuations against US dollar, as well as just the general market. I think I don't make videos on the weekend very often, but I think today warrants one, and not just talking about Bitcoin, but just the market in general. So, what I hope to go through in this video, it's probably going to be a longer one. We'll go through Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the major altcoins that I talk about, including as well Bitcoin dominance, as well as total and total two. Remember, if you do like this video and the other videos that I make on this channel, be sure to hit the like button down below and also consider subscribing. So as of today, as of now, Bitcoin has topped out at $69,000, and to where we are, we're down about 30% to the wick, which we wicked down to $42,000 on Bitstamp. We're looking at a 40% correction. This is pretty impressive, I would say the least. It was only yesterday where we were at the 20-week moving average, and we were talking about how this is the fight. The fight begins. It'll be interesting to see when in the weekly close, to see if we're able to hold it, if we're able to bounce. I said it was likely for us to bounce, considering that we bounced the second time around a few months ago, back in the end of September. But here we are. We've broken through the 20-week moving average, and we're now hovering above the 50-week. With that said, the 50-week moving average was the moving average back in July, where we held the line, where we bounced off of that support, and that got us back above the 20-week moving average. There's one thing that I didn't mention in the last video where I will stress this again. Breaking the 20-week moving average isn't necessarily the bad news. It is when we bounce off of another support and get back to the 20-week moving average and we get rejected. Something along the lines of, say, 2017, where you could see here, where we came back down, bounced, came back to the 20-week, and then got rejected, and then got rejected a second time. There's multiple attempts to get back above the 20-week moving average, and it just didn't happen. And so at this point, the market was over. The party was over. I believe that is the one case that we've had. If we look at, say, 2013, we could see something a little similar, right? You could see this bounce coming up to the 20-week and get immediately rejected one more time and failed. I think this is the key moment to look at, right? We're obviously not there yet. We just broke through the 20-week moving average, but that would be the first thing to come to mind if you are a person that thinks that the party is over. I, for one, do not think the party is over just yet. We talked about the monthly RSI on Bitcoin, talking about how in the last previous cycles, we see double tops in the 90s range of the RSI, right? This past March, we got up to 91, and I expect a secondary peak within this cycle. Now, that being said, I could very well be wrong, and I would be wrong, but I think these are key factors to take into consideration if you are making the claim that the party is over. And for those who, it was just like 3 weeks ago, like when we are at $69,000, that Bitcoin was immediately going to go continue the rally to $100,000 by year's end. I hope to think that those claims are now quashed. But it's those same very people, I would bet a lot of money. It's those very same people that are now calling that the party is over. Um, Benjamin Cohen made a tweet talking about, um, if your macro outlook on the markets is determined by one daily candle, then like, it's not a way to look at markets, and I can't agree more. Stick to your convictions. If you really think that Bitcoin's party is over, then sell everything. This is the time to sell everything, and that is your bet, right? That is your bet. If you don't think that's the case, then hold. Um, you don't lose anything until you sell, essentially. And with that said, you're going to base your entire outlook on the market on one daily candle. When we flip Bitcoin to the monthly and you see over 10 years what Bitcoin has accomplished, and you're basing it all on one daily candle, I think is ludicrous. And that's just something that I feel that I wanted to rant about, because I see that all the time right now. And it was just only a couple weeks ago where it was the complete opposite. The complete opposite. It, it, there's not a more polarizing sentiment in the market than it is cryptocurrency. I swear to God, it's the most polarizing community I've seen. Financial markets are the same way, but I think everyone kind of understands that in the end, it's better to just hold your assets than to sell it at the bottom. I feel like eventually cryptocurrency will come the same way, but right now it's just extremely polarizing, and people flip-flop. And I think that'll be the detriment to many people, is flip-flopping. If you're flip-flopping too much, you're not gaining an edge on either side, whether you're short or long. You're you're first long, then you lose about 10%. You sell, you go short, it goes back up, you lose another 10%. So your cost base, your portfolio is getting chipped away at by acting this way. So I think take a hard look in the mirror in yourself, and ask yourself, what do you see the outlook of Bitcoin in 5 years? Or if you're more like me and more involved, what's it going to look like for the rest of the cycle? Do you think there's still more room to grow? In which case, hold your position. If not, then don't. Then sell it all, or even go short. Make that bet for yourself. As for me, you know what my position is. Even with this daily move, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. I still think 2022 is going to be a good year for the cryptocurrency asset class. I think this is just a blip, honestly. It's the same kind of reactions where we got here, where people thought the party was over. It isn't. And I don't think we're quite there yet. The valuations are not yet that overvalued, in my opinion. Yes, we're up, 1,000%, or thousands of percent since the market bottom in March, 1,500% from the top. But I don't think we're there quite yet. I just don't. The market's not the market's not drawn out long enough. I'm one to believe of lengthening cycles. There's a lot of factors that I talk about, including the monthly RSI, the length of the cycle, and just looking at Bitcoin dominance and the reaction of altcoins. We're not quite there yet, especially if you're someone who just bought into cryptocurrency in 2020. Like 2017, 2018 mania was absolutely insane. And we're not quite there yet. And so that is what my gut feeling is telling me. You will have a different opinion on that, and that is perfectly fine. I would say put your money where your mouth is, and let it ride, kind of thing. And so moving forward from Bitcoin, Ethereum, yes, it's down on the US dollar. It's currently trading at actually $4,000. We wick to the 20-week moving average on Ethereum, and we're pretty much testing prior all-time highs right now. All-time highs here, and here, where the candle bodies end, are opened and closed for the week. I think if anything, Ethereum is the most bullish asset right now in the market. We've just broken out of this structure here. We were talking about it all week, and it is a 1 day and 6 hours left in the week. We're most likely going to close above this structure, and seeing how strong Ethereum is right now, outpacing Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin dropped 10% for today, is no short of amazing. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing Ethereum in Q1 of 2022. I say Ethereum's still my second largest position, and yeah. So with that said, I think Ethereum's really, really exciting, and that is why I don't think Bitcoin's just not out yet. Where there could be a chance that we kind of get back to the 20-week moving average. I mean, that'll require a 6% move up to get to the 20-week moving average again. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. If anything, it could be anything like in the summer, where we have 3 months of being below the 20-week moving average and bouncing back up again. But we shall see. At least with Ethereum, I'm very bullish on Ethereum. I still have my future contracts with Ethereum, and my second largest position is Ethereum. I am betting that Ethereum is going to do well, as it kind of shows right now. The resilience of Ethereum when the market is down. You really don't see this. happening, and that's what makes it quite interesting. If Bitcoin is down this amount, right, and 10% isn't much in the grand scheme of things, but to the market it is, and for sentiment it is. Everyone should be selling their assets. But Ethereum right now is not. It is holding strong against Bitcoin and actually even outpacing it for today. Chainlink, Chainlink is not doing very well, obviously. It's acting like every other altcoin, and is down 4%, 5% for today, is down 4.26% for the week. We're seeing the bottom, this kind of structure here, holding the line here. It is yet to be said that if we're able to hold it, but we are still within this structure. If we break through it, we can look at 24,000 Satoshis as another support level. But we will see. I'm not holding my breath, especially when Bitcoin's acting this way. I'll the outlook for me with altcoins right now is that Bitcoin has to get kind of healthy and bullish again before altcoins have a chance to kind of rally, with notable exceptions, right? Uh, the Chainlink ETH has broke the floor and we're going further down. We've never been this low on the RSI, on the weekly RSI, for Chainlink ETH. We're at 28.57, which is incredible. In my opinion, if you had capital, if I had more capital that I wasn't throwing into Bitcoin right now, it would be going into Chainlink. But I can understand things are pretty testy right now, and you don't necessarily want to catch a falling knife. And I think that's the sentiment for the rest of the altcoin market right now. Uniswap, holding strong at the key level right now, against Bitcoin, against Ethereum. It's kind of broke the floor of where I thought was going to be holding the line. I mean, you can reference this wick here that's kind of testing this line, but we shall see. Again, 28.06 on the RSI. It's now in oversold territory. The US dollar holding strong at $17, which was key support for Uniswap back in May, June, and July. We kept on bouncing off this level and it got us up to $33, and now we're back down. So this is something else to look at. Basic attention token. Um, we kind of wicked down to this downward line of resistance here, turned into support, which I find very interesting. This was just an arbitrary line to just kind of indicate like, look, we kind of have similar patterns of getting rejected here, but it seems like basic attention token wicked to it and bounced up, looking good. Against the US dollar, we're trading at $1.11, kind of losing the gains that we gained back last week. So, something that's not necessarily good, but it kind of shows that when times are good, you should start selling, right? Again, I sold a position of basic attention token last week, when it went to $1.77. I mean, it wicked up as high as almost $2, but $1.77, I'll take it. Celsius. Celsius is up 15% today against Bitcoin, up 16.97 for the week. We could be looking at a potential bounce for Celsius, which will be very, very interesting. And what I'm thinking is, if we take Celsius and kind of make a new chart, stack the charts here. I'm curious to see what Celsius did. Okay, there's no correlation to inverse correlation with Celsius and Bitcoin. I was gonna see on video with you guys to see like, oh, maybe Celsius has an inverse correlation with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin goes down, Celsius goes up. No, today right now Celsius is just going up on its own volition. If we look at the RSI, actually, you could see, and I did mention this, and it's again not written in stone. This could change, but we did go into like close to oversold territory. We're bottom out and we're kind of moving up. That was kind of the hope that this is the temporary bottom that we tend to, and then we'll shoot back up and get back above the 20-week moving average. So we'll see about that. 15% is pretty good for the day. I'll take it. I did increase my Celsius positions a few weeks ago, so this is definitely welcomed. Obviously, with Bitcoin down, almost 10%, Celsius is only up 3.5% against the US dollar, because you take into account the Bitcoin valuation minus the Bitcoin USD valuation percentage, and then you get this Celsius USD dollar valuation. So we are still in a downtrend with Celsius, but hopefully, if anything, this might be the start of something, a start of a trend reversal for Celsius Network token. Uh, but again, I think with altcoins in general, I'm going to make a blanket statement about it, is say that, with Bitcoin being the way it is and with sentiment to being the way it is right now, altcoins are put on the back burner until Bitcoin gets back above the 20-week moving average. Until then, for me at least, it's Bitcoin, 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 buying more Bitcoin, changing my portfolio allocations, etc., to macro Bitcoin maybe. We'll see. But yeah, Cardano is still bleeding against Ethereum. We saw a bounce earlier this week, which was quite impressive, but it looks like we've just lost the gains from that day, right? Yeah, exactly. We gained 12%, 13% that day, 3 days ago. We wicked below it, but right now we're at about 35. Sorry, 0.000350 Ethereum. So we're kind of losing valuation on there. But regardless, uh, it seems like Cardano is going to continue to bleed with Ethereum, especially if Ethereum is going to be acting this way against Bitcoin, like what we see today, up 6% against Bitcoin. Um, trading at $1.42, kind of hovering over the 50-week moving average. We broke the 20-week moving average, so here's hoping that we're able to hold this. Litecoin, don't really talk about Litecoin very often, but it looks like we've lost the valuation gains that we did in the beginning of November. So this is quite frustrating. XRP, kind of humdrum at the same level as 1600 Satoshis, 660 Satoshis, hasn't been doing a whole heck of a lot. And this crash here kind of shows that it was already bleeding from that point on. So again, for XRP right now, I think I don't think there's much going for it right now. It's just kind of in no man's land, and I actually sold a bit of my XRP to buy VeChain. I used my XRP to buy VeChain because I thought it was a better buy where VeChain was with against Ethereum. So that's full transparency. That's what I did. I now have a lower XRP portfolio position now, and I plan to probably make it even smaller. That along with Litecoin, these two assets I've given for over a year. They've been in the buy regions for over a year, especially Litecoin, and it has done nothing. And the opportunity cost for holding these is detrimental at this point. So, I think it's time to cut your losses. And if it goes up and I miss it, then it wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. And, it's time to look elsewhere. You can obviously hold your positions. I'm not telling you to sell. But that's just how I feel. And I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. Um, Monero, we don't really talk about, but it's essentially holding his key level that it's been for quite a while. So it's been pretty rock solid, regardless of the changes of Bitcoin for today. Binance Coin, one of the few assets that is up against Bitcoin today, up 4.81%. It is down against Ethereum because Ethereum is just a beast right now. But it is up on its 20-week moving average, right? It's actually has quite a bit of distance between that and the moving average, so that's something to take into consideration. VeChain against Ethereum. We're now officially in the buy region. We are now officially in the buy region. I bought earlier this week, just above this yellow line, white line here. But as you can see, we wicked pretty low. And if I was awake, this would have been a great buying opportunity. But right now, I think the focus was on my Bitcoin futures contracts. Um, ensure that they're in good standing, and I have a considerable gap, and I still do. So that's fine. With that said, I'll probably accumulate more VeChain in the coming weeks, uh, assuming the fact that it's going to be here in this area for quite some time. So, because when VeChain gets into these levels, it's not just a weekly bounce, it's there for a number of weeks. So you have a pretty good opportunity to accumulate your VeChain over a course of a month and a half, 2 months, to get a sizable position that you're happy with. And so that's what I intend to do with VeChain, and hoping that history repeats itself and rallies against Ethereum. Tezos, Tezos is still holding the line of this rising support level, which is interesting. US dollar valuation, it's at the line. Look at that. This rising wedge, macro wedge of Tezos that I have drawn out here. Um, we see that it kind of holds these, it kind of bounces off these levels to some degree when considering the US dollar. At this point, we did dip below, but we did rally above it. And right now, we are holding it right now at $4.19. So I find that interesting. I still have a position in Tezos. I expect it to bounce from this area and kind of hit its head on this resistance line at around $10. So we'll see. If it does go to $10, then I think I will sell my position. Um, it's been pretty predictable. So there, that's something to take into consideration. Anyway, I think that's all of. Oh, AAVE. AAVE is also just breaking through the floor, which is fine. I talked about last time with AAVE Ethereum and AAVE's Ethereum valuation, so we could take a look at that. And we've broken through the floor, and we're now in oversold territory in the RSI at 25.87. We've never been this low before, I think. Yeah, 28.21 was the lowest that we've had in the macro chart of AAVE, which these oversold territories really leads me to believe like an incredible bounce might happen because you have so many assets at these levels. It makes me kind of think that there's an incredible bounce waiting to happen. I mean, Bitcoin on the daily has never been this low in quite some time. It was like 30.72. Um, lowest was last time was May 23rd and this crash here. So yeah, and I think even when you take into account for the hourly, we are like at 8.9, yeah, 8.79. When's the last time we've been that low? Um, September. Hold on, let me zoom in here. Nope, not September. Um, April of 2021. Nope. Yeah, yeah, I have to scroll incredibly back. Probably, uh, I can't go further back. Probably the March crash of COVID is how far you would have to go back to. So, that kind of that makes me think. And that's just kind of a my thought right now. You have so many assets that are in oversold territory against in relation to the RSI. It kind of makes me think that there might be a bounce or like a relief rally to some degree coming soon. When we look at total, we are holding the 20-week moving average. The whole market is holding the 20-week moving average, which I think is incredibly, incredibly important. And we know, and I think if we take that into account, when we hold the 20-week moving average, we know that the market can rally very well. So I'll keep an eye on total. Total two, same thing. We were holding the 20-week moving average. We were past it. We are now above it. I think we're good. So yeah, these are things that that I kept on looking at. Even when you look at total two against the 20-week moving average in the last cycle, we were able to hold it multiple times and keep the bull run intact. So looking at the individual assets, looking at total two, I, these are things that I look at that make me believe that the rally is just not over. And especially Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is down. When Bitcoin when Bitcoin crashes like this, all altcoins bleed harder, and Bitcoin dominance shoots up. We are doing the complete opposite, and we're at 40.79% dominance. We're like a percentage point away from from this bottom here. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens because we talked about this. It could easily bounce up and we can go towards 50% dominance, which might happen, and that could paint a pretty interesting picture. Or we break through the floor, in which case altcoins at that point should be rallying harder against Bitcoin. The latter seems a little bit more far-fetched considering that Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average, but this could be either possibility is within the realm of possibility. Um, and so that's kind of my outlook. So I think I've talked enough. We went through every single asset that I talk about on this channel, albeit briefly. I think closing remarks. Um, I'm not basing my I'm not basing my macro outlook on a daily candle. There are many factors to take into consideration. If Bitcoin wicks back up to the 20-week moving average, then it's like nothing happened. Honestly, it's like nothing happened. If Bitcoin still is below the 20-week moving average but is holding the 50-week, well, we could see a prolonged sideways action of Bitcoin, much like what we saw in summer. In which case, that's another quarter. It's not your entire life. You're not going to die. Everything's going to be fine. If we break through it, or if we in the next coming weeks, and this is why it's hard. It's insane to base your macro outlook on the daily candle. If we go sideways and we get back to the 20-week moving average and get rejected, well, that's a different story. Then the bears have some merit in saying that that might be the top. But regardless, it's too early to tell. Um, as for me, I can afford to wait. If you cannot afford to wait, then you've made a terrible decision at some point, buying when you shouldn't be buying, or the amount you're buying was too much if you cannot afford to wait. And I'm sorry you're in that position, but it's a lesson learned, and I'm sure you'll never make that mistake again. Anyway, that's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.